Hi guys. First of all, how is everybody? I hope everyone is well. Cousins, hello, good morning. We have a bunch of new people here. Holy fucking shit. So a little update, I'm back in school. I'm back in New York. As I said from my last video, I go to school out here and the semester started, so I'm back out here. I also have a roommate. Love her down. She's absolutely like amazing. She's so cool. So I'm not filming in the room out of respect for her, and then obviously I'm just not comfortable as well. So enough about me. Let's get to the, what is this? Let's do the math. 1,300 of y'all? Who are you? I post one TikTok that's so controversial, and it is, low-key, it really is. And oh my god, it does just as crazy as it did on TikTok on here. On TikTok, it was like, what, 3 million views in 3 days? And on YouTube, it's here nearing 3 million, I think, if it's not already hit it, at the time of this recording, not even 24 hours later. It's truly a lot, but I'm very grateful. Hello, welcome, good morning. My name is Kat Carter, lovely to meet you. Let's see, I love myths. I love history, I love makeup, I love talking about old people, and by old people, I just mean like, way back when. I love talking about these people because honestly, with every person that I speak about and I know about, they all do some fuck ass shit. That's very, very true. But there's also something to learn from each and every person. It's amazing. You'll get a good variety of people, so it'll be fine, it'll be fine. Not to toot my own horn and slap my own ass, like, but I'm really funny. So I think everyone will have a good time. I know I do. So without further ado, let's get into it. So today we are talking about Cleopatra. Before I get into this though, I kind of want to like ask a question because like I love reading, I love history, and with that it's like the reasonings as to why some people are historical figures is like really different when you really think about all the kind of views and different kind of like ideologies and what kind of morals a historian or a culture has, you know? And it really makes me wonder because like a lot of people consider Cleopatra to be such an iconic queen because she was a queen of Egypt in the time that she was the queen in Egypt, and it was just like, period, girl boss, whatever. If she was so iconic to, I'm gonna say Americans, because I can't speak for anybody else but Americans. She's iconic for Americans, certain Americans, because it's like, oh yeah, Queen of Egypt, yada 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 yada. To others, it's because she was I think she was like the only person in her entire ass family at that point to actually take interest of the Egyptians, because that bitch was not Egyptian at all, which we're gonna get into that. But she was not an Egyptian woman, and the fact that she took it upon herself to learn their customs, learn their values, learn their culture, learn their language, that was very iconic to certain people. It's iconic to me, but for some people, I feel like that's not the reason why she's iconic. Some people I really feel like think that she's like an iconic ass woman because of her makeshift vibrator. And she would put bees, like actual bees, inside like a container of like clay or some shit, and then like close it, shake them niggas up, so they're like bzz, 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 and then just go to town. That's iconic. But she is that bitch because she is a queen in her own right, and then still fucked around with Julius Caesar and had a kid with him. That also ruled over Egypt for a little bit before he like died at 14 or some shit like that. But like, but I'm sorry. I said let's begin, and I'm talking about vibrators and dildos and shit. Listen, so as I just mentioned before, she learned the Egyptian language, and that was very uncalled for in her family, meaning she was not Egyptian herself. Shocker. Is it really? No, but apparently it is a big shocker. She was not Egyptian. Let me rephrase that. Based on what we know, she was not Egyptian. And I say that because there's no records, or there's like this much records of her mama. So we don't know if her mama was a sister, a cousin, an auntie, an uncle, or just an Egyptian lady. Like, we don't know. We don't know. And it's so weird. Like, well, okay, it's not weird, but it's just like, what do you mean you don't know? You know? So the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt was founded by, wait for it, Alexander the Great's homeboy, right? And trusted general, Ptolemy the First Soter, right? Ptolemy was his first name, okay? After Alexander's death in 323 BCE, his entire empire was literally fought over by every single one of his generals. And like, honestly, he and Alexander were like this. Who knows if it was something else, but like, you know, It is Greece. But they were really, really close. So it's like, it's said that Ptolemy grabbed Egypt as a result of the wars. They were called the Diadochi Wars. Diadochi, I don't really know. It depends on where you're from, so. But I think, okay, Kat thinks in her noodle that Egypt was already a discussion between Alexander and Ptolemy before his death. You know what I'm saying? So when he died and the wars began, Ptolemy was like, all right, I'm gonna just go over here. And you know what? It worked out. So he went there with his fleet, pushed out the royal family that was already there, was like, move bitch, I got more shit. And in 305 BCE, he declared himself Pharaoh and began blending almost immediately like Greek culture with Egyptian culture, which I guess worked out a bit. Like, it did work out. It truly, truly did work out, low-key. Alexandria became the capital. That's actually like my fucking sister's middle name. That's cool. Because Egypt was placed in a really good area in terms of like defensive strategy, right? The military was good for the time and where they were, who they were fighting. But then it was also rich, like money-wise, gold-wise, and agriculture. That Nile, baby. It became the centerpiece of trade, science, the library of Alexandria, and the big lighthouse of Pharaohs. Like it was just, it was great, okay? It was a great move. It was very, very strategic, and it all worked out. And they controlled the wealth of that area through the Nile, through the Red Sea. And so trade in the Mediterranean was literally just amazing because you really couldn't do any kind of trade without at least passing through or around Egypt at one point or another. This is where it becomes like, okay, we're doing well. Why the fuck are we doing that now? Ptolemy, and I don't even know like how this comes about in one's mind. Like, you know, the idea of a pure bloodline has always raised my right eyebrow, but it's just like the way that some people go about it. It's never like, what are we doing, you know? So, pure bloodline, all right? I know everyone's stomach just like a little bit. I get it. So this man, he thought that he established his own dynasty and his own bloodline on some kind of throne. So he was like, this will never be taken away from me. But it's like, you can never really like make that be so sure, you know? It's never gonna be like set in stone. I'm the king, my family, my name will always be on this throne, it will never change. That's not happened. I mean, it probably has, but like at some point, one way or another, something always happens, you know what I mean? And so he thought that the only way for this not to happen was to start marrying within his family. And you'd be like, okay, that's like creating a bigger family. And it's like, no, the family wreath becomes a bush. So it's like, what are we doing? You got folks out here born with tails. Huh? And with this, it's just like,
girl, what the fuck is you talking about?
Like, it makes, like, for a second, when you watch Game of Thrones, for example, you sit here and you wonder, like, where did they even get this thing of the Targaryens, like, you know, fucking on each other all the time and not wanting to marry outside of their family and keep it in it. And it's just like, these people, these fucking people. If you marry your cousin, or if you marry your brother, or if you marry your sister, or your auntie, or your nephew, or your uncle, you're not... Emma Darcy is not going to be born to your family, okay? Hunter Schafer, I know she isn't a Targaryen, but in my heart, she is. Hunter Schafer will not be born. You're gonna get Joffrey. Joffrey and webbed feet. Joffrey, webbed feet, and 14 fingers. Don't do that. There were many pharaohs in between Ptolemy and Cleopatra, but you can't make me. I'm not doing all that. And about them, it's about Cleopatra, so we're gonna skip from here to here and talk about her. So Cleopatra's real, full, 110% name, Cleopatra the Seventh. There's 7 of these hoes in this family. Cleopatra the Seventh Philopator. She was born in 69 BCE, but this is where it gets weird. Remember how I said that like her lineage is like kind of fucked up when it comes to her exactly? This is what I mean. Her father, right? Ptolemy the 12th Ladies, sometimes called the flute player. I guess he like playing the fucking flute. I don't really give a damn, but listen. Her mama, like I said, is not set in stone exactly who the fuck gave birth to this woman, like at all. Her mother is either an Egyptian slave woman, an Egyptian courtesan, or like, what's her name? Cleopatra V. So this is where it gets nasty, alright? So in 51 BCE, her father, Ptolemy the 12th, dies, okay? Nothing too crazy about that. Yes, she was the older sister, but she had a younger brother. Penis twins, unfortunately. What was meant to happen was that her brother become pharaoh and she is just like, you know, kind of there, whatever the fuck, right? No. So her father understood that she was probably one of the most educated women of this time and probably in their family. She knew Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, and then like I said before, learned Egyptian because these people are not from Egypt. They're from Greece, North Greece. If we got Greece, all the island shit, northern Greece. It's an ancient empire, ancient kingdom called Macedonia. That's what it was. That's where she's from. That is where she is from. And based on the comments, we still got people out there in Macedonia. And they're in my comments being like, oh my God, thank you for saying this. Like, she's one of us. She's one of us. Like, bro, these folks talking about some thank you. I'm like, oh, I know that some people are really annoying about this and think that she is a black lady. She's fucking not. But it's like to the point where people are in my comments from here being like, it irks me so bad when people say this to me. And I don't hear like they say it to you, like to your face. Crazy. Also, the flag is so pretty. I love the flag. So she knew all these languages. She was grossly educated in like strategy and agriculture, how to manage shit, how to run a kingdom. She knew how to do that, and her father recognized that. So instead of just, I don't know, making her queen, this man, on his deathbed, he just goes, when I die, Ptolemy, brother, will become king, but you, Cleopatra, sister, will marry him. You have to be kidding. What are you talking about? Like, I don't... My brother. Mind you, she's like 18 at this point and he's like 12? Like, children? Because they also expect that. They expect that even though if you're siblings and, you know, you watched your brother be born and you watched him grow up to be a young boy, not even a man, you gotta go fuck this nigga now? I gotta give my brother children? Huh? I have to give birth to my nephews?
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What?
I couldn't deal. I literally... Natural selection is coming for your ass. So once all that went down and they got married and her little brother became Ptolemy the 13th of Egypt, he immediately pushed her aside, was like, I don't care what you want to do, you're my wife, so you don't even have no rights, no way, so what are you talking about, what do you want, a co-ruler? And Cleopatra was like, no, you're tripping and you're also a 9th grader, so no. And literally began civil war in Alexandria. And while she was having this civil war, she was exiled, of course. And so she was trying to figure out a way to get support to get back in the kingdom, because yes, she may have been the smartest, baddest bitch in all of Egypt, but she was a woman. And like I said, penis wins. Even if you are so incompetent, if I look you up in the dictionary, your name will be under incompetent. If you have a dick, you literally are automatically... I don't even know what to say. You know how much shit in history could have been avoided if that was not like a thing? Like you were a ruler based on like merit, or if you were like, I don't even know, literate. Cause sometimes, bro, George I didn't even speak English and he came to rule England. That doesn't make sense. You know, he's the reason why we have prime ministers, because he was like, I ain't trying to rule this fuck ass, dark ass country, and made that position to have someone else rule because he want to do that shit. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But have no fear. You want to know why? The white men are fighting. While Cleopatra was racking her brain trying to figure out how am I going to get my throne back from my brother, the penis haver. This is going to be really, really hard, right? On some Matilda, Stephen LeBlanc type shit. And luckily, I don't know who answered her prayers. Ra, Sekhmet, Hathor, all of them. Toth, all of them. Caesar, right? Had this little shit going on with Pompey. You need to go and watch that, because that part in particular is just so much stuff where it's like, what the fuck are you doing? But Pompey Magnus, okay? Pompey Magnus and Julius Caesar were having a little tussle, if you will, and they were literally fighting and chasing each other around the Mediterranean. And Pompey knew what was going down in Egypt, civil war with Ptolemy and Cleopatra. So he went to Egypt and said, I'll help you defeat your sister if you help me defeat Caesar. Ptolemy is like, I mean, I've heard more about him than you. You're old, washed up, and fat. So I don't really know if we can do this. So he kills Pompey. And then when Julius Caesar eventually comes, right? He's just like, okay, I'm here to help you defeat Cleopatra, right? And then you can help me defeat Pompey, yeah? Ptolemy is like, all right, cool. Come here, servants. Brings out Ptolemy's head on a platter and says, all right, my end of the bargain is fulfilled. Now you gotta stay here. What are you talking? He was set up. And while Caesar is here, okay, he does not want to be here. He's tired. I know his legion is tired. They left Rome to go and deal with Vercingetorix in Gaul, okay? Now we're in Egypt? I'd be mad as fuck. Italian heat, I'm gonna assume it's okay. It's bearable. I'm sure it's hot as fuck in the summer, okay? Egyptian heat? Are you fucking serious? Take me home. And so while Caesar was here, he was trying to figure out how to do what Ptolemy wanted so we can go the fuck home, right? And while he's chilling in his room, a servant comes with a rug. He's like, what the hell is that? He's like, oh, it's a rug. It's a rug. It's for you. It's a rug. It's for you. The servant puts the rug down. I think, did he leave? I'm pretty sure he leaves. Cleopatra rolls out this rug, smuggled herself inside the palace in a rug. And she's like,
I'm Cleopatra. Ptolemy's sister. I need you to help me defeat him.
obviously not like that probably, but like still it's really funny. And so Caesar is just like, okay, yeah, I'll help you. He took his forces and Cleopatra's forces and they sacked Alexandria. Fucked that place up. Sorry, I can see like campus parking lots from my boyfriend's room and like I just saw someone doing donuts and almost hit like 4 people. Welcome to college, guys. In the middle of Alexandria's sacking, Ptolemy, holy shit, he somehow gets out of the palace and then I guess his guards get killed, so he tries to run for his life by himself and he ends up drowning in the Nile.
Oh!
I guess, girl. So after all this happens, Cleopatra is successfully restored back to the throne of Egypt. Slay. And since, you know, all the hard work is done, you would think Caesar, who did not want to be in Egypt in the first place, would want to go home, right? No. He and Cleopatra become lovers. And so they fucking sun up, sundown. Probably not, I'm just kidding. They're ruling together essentially as like king and queen of Egypt, unofficially, but at the same time, Rome still exists. Julius Caesar gets a letter from Mark Antony saying, please come back, bitch. Because Rome is like off its rocker. I ain't gonna go into all of what happened, just go and watch the video because it's really good. I think so, at least. Caesar is back in Rome, he's restoring everything, he's declared himself a dictator. Horrible, but I get it. A year later, right? Cleopatra comes to Rome, actually picks up her shit and comes, and everyone is like, why the fuck is she coming here? Like, holy shit. And so she walks in, my name is Cleopatra, bitch. And she's walking as if she owns the place because honestly, for real, her standing is above anybody in that room because she's a queen in her own royal right and these are just senators and it's a fucking dictator, like the fuck. And the Senate was absolutely appalled by this because it's like, one, a queen here, foreign country, who are you? But then it's like, you're a woman. So it's like, oh my god. So she walks in, bad bitch that she is, and then the servant comes in behind her, woman, a wet nurse comes in behind her. I'm like, what is that? Baby Caesarion.
You are the father.
Rome was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You had a kid with a foreign queen? What is your issue? So, mess, right? She literally came to Rome, that's why I love her. She came to Rome just to show him, hey, by the way, do what you do here, do what you want to do, but we have a child back in Egypt and he will be on the Egyptian throne when I die. So just letting you know, if you want to come back and be like king and shit and like be a present dad, more than welcome to. But if you want to stay here and not be, have fun, boo boo. And then she packed up her shit and then she left. And then she went back to Egypt and kept ruling as the queen with her son. Yes, amazing. But it's not so amazing because 44 BCE rolls around and girl, what a year. 44 BCE, Julius Caesar is Swiss cheesed, okay? Horrible. Antony, who was his homeboy, which we all know, was like, I gotta get the fuck up out of here because y'all are absolutely insane. Filming in natural lighting is so much fun until it's like 6 p.m. Mark Antony decided that he was gonna go to Egypt and pair up with his friend's baby mama. Sure, and Cleopatra was more than willing to accept such hospitality. She loves Italian men, real as fuck. And Cleopatra welcomed Mark Antony into Egypt with open arms and open legs. And you know what? Rome was willing to like let it slide that she already had an affair with Caesar, right? That was okay. He was kind of anyway, you know what I mean? Mark Antony too. That was too much for them. That was the greed they talk about in the Bible. Not yet, but they talked about it in the Bible. So Roman propaganda began to paint her as a seductress, which is where we literally get the idea that Cleopatra was some thick baddie that was just sleeping around with folks all day, every day to get what she wanted. No, she's up with 2 prominent Roman men, and that was, you know, that. But they started painting her as if she was a whore, like prostitute-esque, and that she had enslaved Antony. Mark Antony surely could not have gone to Egypt on his own grounds and free will, gotten in the bed with Cleopatra of his own grounds and free will. Must be witchcraft. Must be slavery. Have you found the plot? I think I've lost it, I can't lie. But you know what? They didn't care what anybody had to say, because they had 3 fucking kids together. They had 2 sons and a daughter. One of the sons and the daughter were fraternal twins. Cleopatra Selene II was the girl, and Alexander Helios was the boy. After the twins were born, they had another son some years later called Ptolemy Philadelphus. Philadelphus or Philadelphia? You tell me. And honestly, while she was having these kids, dealing with Mark Antony, trying to get him and his men assimilated into Egypt, she was still a ruling queen. She stabilized Egypt's economy after her brother fucked it up during his little reign. She heavily supported the arts and science and philosophy in Alexandria, so keeping that staple of the library and the cultural aspect of like what it was in that city, kept it to a T. So the issue of Cleopatra's subjects actually liking her and loving her wasn't exactly an issue anymore. But you know who was? Fucking Rome again. Because after Mark Antony left, what did he leave behind? Octavian Augustus, right? The first emperor of Rome, who literally was already pissed off, okay? You would think that even after all of that, and Antony came to Egypt, had a child, more than one, with Cleopatra, that their problems would all be solved. But it's like, no. Caesarion, right? The child that she had with Julius Caesar, he's still alive and well. And the issue was, Augustus's like leadership as the first emperor completely banked on the fact that Caesar considered him his son and heir by proxy, right? With Cleopatra out here being like, my son is the true-born son of Julius Caesar and his heir, and treating him as such, raising him as such, it was literally actively challenging Augustus's rule. So it was a big ass issue. So he came to Egypt, ran up, and was like, come on, show me your baddest bitch. They got so fucked up, guys. Octavian fucked them up. And so they ended up having to retreat from this battle, the Battle of Actium, back to Egypt and stayed there for an entire year. Now it's 30 BCE, okay? Another fateful year. Antony heard a false report. Confirmed false report, mind you. Cleopatra had died in some way, shape, or form, but she died. And at this point, you know, they're 3 kids deep. So it's like, what am I supposed to do right now? So hearing this, he just falls on his sword, which means he commits suicide hearing his girl is gone, which, you know, he hears that, but it's not an actual factual report. She's actually well, still alive, and totally fine. But someone just told him that and he killed himself. And when Cleopatra found out that he killed himself on a false report that she died, she was like, are you kidding me? So now she has no man there to help her once her army gets fucked up, or if his army gets fucked up and they come for her army and her army is like, fuck this and leaves, she's fucked, right? So she also commits suicide, and it's really, really weird and contested how she actually does it. I'm gonna go on a limb here and put the umbrella up and say she just poisoned herself. How she did it, I don't give a fuck about, but it's like, she probably just poisoned herself. Like some people say, oh, she had an asp bite her on her arm, or oh, seductress propaganda coming through. She had a snake bite her on the boob. Why would I ever have a snake this close to my titty, please? Willingly? Even if it was suicide. What am I doing? Just put it in a little bowl, gulp, 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 goodbye. Like, titty? So even before Cleopatra died, right? She really did her big one and literally said, I want Caesarion to be declared co-ruler with me, alongside me. So I'm queen, he's king on paper, but you know, Antony's here. And he did it when he was 3 years old, because should something have happened, he was already good. He was already had his coronation. He was already king. He's great, right? But he never actually ruled anything because he was 3 fucking years old. So after they died, Antony and Cleopatra, Caesarion actually went to the northern part of Egypt for like safety and stuff. But Octavian was like,
Hey bro, so listen. We're both, you know, relatives of a crazy ass ruler, so I totally get how you're feeling. Come down to Alexandria, I'll help you, it'll be fine. I'll let you live, I'll grant you mercy.
And Octavian, you know, practically still being a child, believed him. Winds up getting kidnapped and captured by Octavian's forces and then killed on his order. You know what this fuck nigga said? Octavian Caesar, Augustus, whatever the fuck, literally saw this going on, gave the order, and was like, yeah,
too many Caesars is just not a good thing. There should only be one.
That's his son for real, you the nephew. You only here because Brutus acted up. But okay. Thus ending the age of Ptolemaic pharaohs. The final pharaoh, for real, was Cleopatra, but on paper it was cesarean. What the fuck? That was a lot. That was truly a lot. And you know, a lot of this stuff is a lot. A lot of this stuff is fucking crazy and definitely wouldn't have happened today, or if it did, it wouldn't be as public. With that being said, what did we learn today? If you have children and you're ruling over something big, whether it be a dynasty, a kingdom, a company, whatever you want to call it, do not make your daughter and do not make your son marry each other on some co-ruler type shit. You will begin a civil war one way or another. Who has time for that? Cat surely does not. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, welcome to all of the new people who are here, and I really hope that you enjoy this video and future videos. I'll see you guys later. Bye!